Welcome to the Echoes of Ihsan podcast, where we journey through the heart of Islamic traditions, unearthing wisdom and meaning from the past to illuminate our lives today. I was reading through Muwatta Imam Malik, book 26, the Aqiqa,
Hmm.
and I found myself fascinated by this tradition, and I thought, wouldn't it be amazing to explore this together?
Yes.
So today we're taking a deep dive into the Aqiqa, this beautiful practice that celebrates the arrival of a new life.
The Aqiqa. It's more than just a celebration, It's a profound act woven into the very fabric of Islamic life. Imagine a family welcoming a new soul into the world and expressing their overwhelming gratitude and seeking blessings through a special sacrifice. That's the essence of Aqiqa.
I love that you mentioned gratitude because when I first started reading about Aqiqa, one thing that really struck me was the Prophet Muhammad's response when asked about it.
Mhm.
He said, "I do not like disobedience." Okay, it's almost like he's pushing back against something, isn't it?
Yeah. It's incredibly insightful that you picked up on that. You see the term uqwa, meaning disobedience, likely points to a shift from older pre-Islamic Arabian beliefs, where the sacrifice was sometimes seen as a way to ransom the child from potential misfortune. It was as if the child's very birth was somehow a defiance of fate.
So in a sense, the Prophet Muhammad was deliberately reframing the entire concept of the sacrifice, moving away from this idea of appeasing fate and instead emphasizing gratitude.
Right, exactly. And this reframing is profound because it elevates the Aqiqah from a superstitious ritual to a deeply spiritual practice. It becomes a voluntary act of acknowledging the immense blessing of a child and expressing heartfelt thanks to the ultimate giver of life, God.
That makes so much sense. It's not about fear or obligation, but about pure, unadulterated gratitude. And it's fascinating how this shift is mirrored in the example of Fatima, the Prophet's daughter, mentioned in the Muwatta Imam Malik. The book tells us that she weighed the hair of her children, Hassan, Hussein, Zainab, and Kulthum, and gave an equivalent weight in silver as charity.
What's remarkable about Fatima's actions is how they seamlessly connect the Aqiqah to the broader Islamic principle of charity. It's as if she's saying, this blessing of a child is not just for me, it's meant to be shared with the community, especially those in need.
That imagery of weighing the hair and giving its equivalent in silver
Hmm.
is so powerful. It's almost a physical manifestation of that gratitude, isn't it? And speaking of how Aqiqah is practiced, the Muwatta Imam Malik also highlights how this tradition evolved to embrace flexibility.
Yes, and that flexibility is so important because it underscores the universality of the practice. Take, for instance, Abdullah ibn Umar, a companion of the Prophet. He's recorded as giving Aqiqah for both his male and female children. Now, this might seem commonplace today, but in the context of the time, it was a significant step towards equality.
It's amazing how this seemingly simple act speaks volumes about the evolving social understanding of the time. It's like the spirit of Aqiqah was adapting to encompass more inclusive values. And there's also that beautiful element of accessibility within the tradition.
Absolutely. The Muwatta Imam Malik specifically mentions that while a sheep is the common animal used for Aqiqah, even a sparrow would suffice. This essentially democratizes the act of expressing gratitude. It's not about the grandeur of the sacrifice, but the sincerity of the intention behind it.
So whether you're wealthy or have limited means, you can participate in this beautiful tradition. It's really about the purity of your heart and the depth of your gratitude.
Precisely. The Aqiqah reminds us that true gratitude transcends material wealth. It's about recognizing the blessings in our lives, big and small, and responding with a heart filled with thankfulness.
It's almost like the Aqiqah is whispering to us, look around, you appreciate what you have, and share your joy with others.
And that sharing that sense of community is a core element of Aqiqah that we'll explore further. It's fascinating how the Aqiqah, while being this beautiful expression of gratitude, it's also deeply embedded with symbolic elements that speak volumes about its deeper meaning.
Well, absolutely. It's not just about the act of sacrifice itself, but also about the profound symbolism woven into every aspect of the practice. I mean, even the guidelines mentioned in the Muwatta Imam Malik regarding the animal chosen for Aqiqah offer a glimpse into this rich symbolism. It specifically mentions avoiding certain defects, like a one-eyed or emaciated animal.
Precisely. Those guidelines aren't arbitrary. They point towards this idea of offering the best of what we have, a symbol of our sincere devotion and respect. It's like we're saying, the sacrifice is a reflection of the purity of our intention and the depth of our gratitude.
And it's not just about the selection. The Muwatta Imam Malik also emphasizes that neither the meat nor the skin of the sacrificed animal should be sold. That's a detail that might seem minor at first glance,
Yeah.
but it speaks volumes about the essence of Aqiqah, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. That stipulation draws a clear line between Aqiqah and any form of commercial transaction. It reinforces the idea that this is a purely devotional act, an offering made out of love and gratitude, not for personal gain or profit.
It's like saying, this isn't about worldly possessions or material benefit. This is about recognizing the sacredness of life and sharing that blessing with others. And that element of sharing is so beautifully intertwined with the Aqiqa. The meat is typically cooked and enjoyed in a communal meal where family, friends, and neighbors all come together to partake.
Exactly. And that communal aspect isn't just a social gathering. It's a powerful symbol of unity and interconnectedness. Just as the arrival of a child brings joy not only to the parents but to the extended family and community, so too does the Aqiqa extend that circle of blessings. It's an embodiment of the Islamic principle of sharing our blessings with others, recognizing that our happiness is intertwined with the well-being of those around us.
And it's not just about feasting together. There's also a strong emphasis on charity woven into the practice of Aqiqa, right? I mean, portions of the meat are often distributed to the poor and needy, extending that circle of generosity even further.
You're absolutely right. The act of giving to those less fortunate is an integral part of the Aqiqa. It's a reminder that while we're celebrating the arrival of a new life and the blessings bestowed upon us, we must also remember those who may be struggling, those who may not have the same abundance.
It's such a beautiful reminder that true gratitude isn't just about acknowledging our own blessings. It's about using those blessings to uplift and support others, to spread the joy and share the abundance. It's like Aqiqa saying, yes, celebrate life. Be grateful for your blessings, but don't forget those who need your compassion and support.
And that interconnectedness, that sense of shared responsibility and collective well-being is what makes the Aqiqa such a powerful tradition. It's not just a personal celebration, but a communal affirmation of life, gratitude, and our shared humanity. It really is a beautiful tapestry of tradition and meaning woven together.
Yeah, it is. And it's not just an abstract concept. Thinking about what we've learned from the Muwatta Imam Malik about Aqiqa, I think it's painted such a vivid picture for me of how this tradition strengthens the very fabric of a community, bringing people together, fostering connections, sharing not just a meal, but also the joy and blessings of new life.
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head. It creates this ripple effect of generosity and kindness that extends outward from the family to the wider community, strengthening those social bonds and reminding everyone of their interconnectedness.
Yeah, and in a world that often feels so individualistic, so focused on personal gain and achievement, I feel like traditions like Aqiqa offer a really powerful counter-narrative.
Yeah,
Right? They remind us that our well-being is intertwined with the well-being of those around us, that true happiness comes from sharing our blessings and supporting one another.
It's a timeless message, really, a message that transcends cultural and geographical boundaries, and it's a message that's perhaps more relevant today than ever before.
Yeah, I completely agree. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Aqiqa, guided by the insights from the Muwatta Imam Malik, I think it feels important to highlight those key takeaways, those nuggets of wisdom that we can carry with us.
Absolutely. Let's recap. We've seen how the Aqiqa, while rooted in ancient traditions, evolved under the guidance of the Prophet Muhammad to become this beautiful expression of gratitude for the gift of a child. It's not about warding off bad luck, but about acknowledging that blessing of new life and expressing thankfulness through a sacrifice.
And that sacrifice can be as simple as a sparrow, emphasizing that it's the sincerity of the intention that truly matters, not the extravagance of the gesture, which makes it so accessible to people from all walks of life, regardless of their financial means.
Yeah. And we also explored how Aqiqa is intertwined with the Islamic values of charity and caring for the less fortunate. It's not just a personal celebration, it's an opportunity to extend that joy and generosity outward, sharing the abundance with those in need.
And finally, we delved into the heart of Aqiqa, recognizing its emphasis on community, the coming together of family, friends, and neighbors to partake in the sacrificial meal, strengthening those social bonds and reinforcing that beautiful sense of interconnectedness.
It's a tradition that reminds us that we're not isolated individuals, but part of a larger whole, a community where we share not only our joys and celebrations, but also our responsibilities to care for and support one another.
It's been a truly enriching journey, exploring the depths of Aqiqa. And as we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with a thought to ponder. In our modern world, how can we adapt and integrate the spirit of traditions like Aqiqa into our lives, to foster stronger family and community bonds, to cultivate gratitude and to reignite that sense of shared responsibility for one another's well-being? That's something for you to reflect on. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Echoes of Ihsan.